So you're thinking about moving to Westlake Village and you're wondering what some of the pros and cons might be of what's going on in Westlake Village. So I'm Josh Brenner with Compass here in Westlake Village, and I'm going to share with you pros and cons of living in Westlake Village. I have been a Westlake Village resident for the last 11 and a half, almost 12 years. And all I can say is that it was the best decision my wife has ever made for our family. We were living in the Valley in a little town called West Hills, where I grew up, right next door to where I grew up in Woodland Hills. And one day we were in a little house that we were renting, and my wife said, "I'm not happy living in here anymore." So she went out to visit a condo in Westlake Village. And when she came home, she said, "Josh, I'm taking the kids and I'm moving them to this condo in Westlake Village with or without you." So of course I came with, because I love my wife and family more than anything in the world. It was the best decision that we've ever made. Here are some of the reasons why, some of the pros about living in Westlake Village. Number one, it is one of the safest cities in the country. It usually ranks in the top 3 every single year as one of the safest cities in the country. So you have just a much less stressful feeling in your life when you know that, if you forget to lock your door for some reason, or you forget to close your garage, the likelihood of something happening is extremely, extremely low. Also, Westlake Village is a smaller suburb outside of the greater Los Angeles area. Most of Westlake Village is in Ventura County, and then there's a smaller portion that's in Los Angeles County. But in either case, Westlake Village and Thousand Oaks in general are much less congested than every other area in Los Angeles. The way the city was designed, the master plan, they made the roads with beautiful islands in the middle, so that when you're driving, you don't have to stop like every block at a light. Speed limits are 50 miles an hour, and they've limited the number of homes that can be built because we are surrounded by some preserved lands like the Santa Monica Mountains and stuff like that. We have, I wanted to show you guys, let me share my screen. Let me share my screen real quick and show you guys some images of Westlake Village. So right here, this is the Westlake Village Inn. It's beautiful. It's got a nice little lake behind it. Here's a picture of Westlake. Let's see. Here's a picture of Westlake and the island on Westlake. The island's an exclusive gated community. It's a really beautiful place to live. Another reason that we moved out here, one of the pros is the schools are fantastic. They're some of the best schools in the state. Westlake Village Elementary is a top-rated elementary school year after year. Westlake Hills Elementary is a top-rated elementary school year after year. Colina Middle School is a fantastic middle school. Both of my kids went through both of those schools, and now my son is at Westlake Village High School, and he's having an amazing experience. They have everything. If you're into athletics, sports are big out here. People are big into fitness. If you're into the arts, they have all of that stuff as well, and they have it at the best. So let me share my screen again, and I'm going to show you some images of Westlake Elementary School and what goes on around here. It's a really fantastic place. The kids are always happy. There's a lot of neighborhoods, that are very sought after, like Foxmore and Foxmore Hills and South Shore, that are walking distance to Westlake Elementary School. There's the kids doing cotillion right there. This is at one of their events where they had a famous BMX guy come in and do tricks. And that's inside the classroom. You can just see the kids are always so happy. Another one of the beautiful features about Westlake Village are the parks. There are so many parks out here. It's fantastic. If you look at this map, you can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's like a bunch of parks all over the place. Every neighborhood has parks in it, and they're really nice and peaceful. They're well kept. You have a Westlake Village dog park if you'd like to bring your dog, and all of the parks are they're just so fun. And there's always families and kids there. Look at this list of parks. It's fantastic. Okay. And then if you're into hiking and biking, hey, listen, we got that. Okay. We have so many awesome hiking trails. Look at all this. Hiking trails all around Westlake and some into Thousand Oaks. And well, I didn't even show you what's in Thousand Oaks because I'm focusing on Westlake. But if I showed you Thousand Oaks too, this whole thing would be lit up with red dots. There's just an amazing amount of hiking and biking to do out here. Beautiful summits with beautiful views. There are plenty of summits where you can hike for 30 minutes, get to a spot where you can actually see all the way to the ocean. And sometimes you can see the Channel Islands on a clear day. It's just fantastic if you're into hiking. Another thing that a lot of people are into in Westlake Village is golf. There are a bunch of golf courses out here. You've got Los Robles Greens, Sherwood Country Club, Sherwood Lake Club, Malibu Golf Club isn't too far, Westlake Golf Course, North Ranch Country Club Golf Course, and Lake Lindero Country Club, excuse me. So you have a vast array of private country clubs that you can join, and you also have public golf courses, and they're all very well kept and affordable. The public courses are affordable. The country clubs, those are for our upscale residents here in Westlake Village. Westlake Village is also very close to the beach. You could actually take Westlake Boulevard, it turns into the 23, and it goes all the way to PCH. Or you can take the freeway down to Canaan, and bam, you can drop out right here in Malibu, right by Zuma. In either case, from anywhere, any neighborhood that you live in Westlake Village, you can basically be at the ocean in about 15 to 20 minutes. So that's a really fantastic thing. And earlier I mentioned the country clubs. Well, we have a world famous country club here. It's called the Sherwood Country Club. It hosts a major PGA tournament event every single year. It is one of the most sought after golf courses in the country, if not possibly in the world. The memberships here are amazing. The facilities and amenities are amazing. The service is more than 5-star. It's really, really a great thing when you can go to the Sherwood Country Club. In addition to the Sherwood Country Club, the other major country club out here is the North Ranch Country Club. North Ranch Country Club is also an amazing place. They do not have a PGA tour every year, but they do have a fantastic golf course. They have tennis, they have events, they have cool things for families, you know, as does Sherwood. And it makes for a tremendous sense of community when you belong to one of those country clubs and you meet the people and start making a bunch of friends when you move here. Let me show you also about the affordable luxury market out here. So you can find condos, you know, from maybe mid 500,000s to 650,000 and up. But one of the major draws to Westlake Village is the fact that you can be in a luxury home, and for the cost of, you know, in these, for $9.5 million, be in a house on Lake Sherwood. I don't believe there's a big lake like this in Beverly Hills, but if there was a big lake like that in Beverly Hills, this $9.5 million home would probably be closer to $25 million. So when people think of luxury out here, it is really quite a bargain to buy a beautiful big home. We have homes up to like 15,000 square feet. We have homes on the lake, you know, $10 million. If you wanted to be in Malibu and be right on the beach, you're going to be spending $20 million. So Westlake Village has a very affordable luxury market. And if you have any interest in it, I'd love to show you guys around. Now let me speak a little bit about, oh, the weather. Let me stop sharing my screen real quick. The weather in Westlake Village is fantastic. Because we're close to the beach, we get an ocean breeze that comes in around noon or 1 o'clock every day. It's definitely not as hot here as it is in the San Fernando Valley. We're about, on average, 5 to 10 degrees cooler than the San Fernando Valley would be, which is really hot. So that means if it's 100 degrees in San Fernando Valley, like Woodland Hills, it's 100. It's going to be more like 90, low 90s out here in Westlake, which still sounds high to a lot of people in the rest of the country. But when you get out here and acclimated, like cold weather here, I'm freezing when it's less than 72 degrees. So I know we're spoiled out here, but that's one of the draws, one of the pros of living in Westlake Village in Southern California is the weather. All right, now I'm going to talk about the cons of living in Westlake Village. There's not many. It's one of the best places in the country to live. But one of the cons of living in Westlake Village, if you like to eat, or your job works late and you eat late and you don't cook, you will find that most of the restaurants close pretty early. And early to me is like 8 o'clock because I work a very demanding job. I work long hours. I'm there for my clients. If you've ever worked with me, you know that, if you text me at 10:30 at night, you get a response right away. So for me, being on the run and on the go all the time, it's kind of frustrating sometimes when I've worked a long day and I want to go get dinner and everything's closed. And I don't eat fast food. That's just not part of my diet. So that's one of the cons of living in Westlake Village. The other con of living in Westlake Village is because it's a small town and if you need to eat out or you like to eat out, the choices for food, there's some great restaurants here, don't get me wrong. It's just that we're limited in the amount of choices that we have because it's a small town. We do have some fantastic restaurants, but honestly, if you go to the city and you drive around and you see that you have a lot more options, but that's part of the lifestyle of living out here in Westlake Village is that it's a small town feel. A small town feel, but the city's only 30 minutes away. So you can always drive out there. It's not a big deal. Also, I know, from speaking with my wife, the mall, the Thousand Oaks Mall is a great place. Let me share my screen. But again, it's limited in what's, the amount of stores and what the stores carry. And I think that's because you have the biggest mall in the western side of the country in Woodland Hills. So they have a huge inventory. And then of course, they're trying to get people to drive out to the city because that's where the major locations are for all these stores. So when you go into these stores at the Oaks Mall in Thousand Oaks, you'll see that it's kind of limited. Let me show you some of the stores. I mean, they have a Nordstrom's, but again, when you go into the Nordstrom's, there's just not as many choices in terms of, apparel, clothes, shoes, all the things that you go to Nordstrom's for than you would see that if you went into Woodland Hills or if you went down to the city. They got American Eagle, Anthropologie, the Apple Store, Air House, Avita, Bank of America, Bare Minerals, Body Bath and Works. There's a Benbridge Jeweler, Boxplant, Build-A-Bear, Champs. There's a Cheesecake Factory. That's a cool place. Yep, Chipotle. Who doesn't love Chipotle? Dick's Sporting Goods. There's a Disney store. I heard the Disney store requires you to wear 2 masks now. Anyway, so you get the point. There's all the big names are in the mall, but when you go into those stores, you're going to find that they don't have the same type of inventory that you would see if you were in one of the bigger malls. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. So that's about the only 3 things that I could come up with that are cons of living in Westlake Village. So the pros heavily outweigh the cons by 1,000 to 1. I can't recommend Westlake Village enough to anybody that's looking to move in Ventura County or outside the greater LA area. Luxury, we have affordable luxury upscale market with some of the most beautiful homes with the best architecture and built by famous architects that you'll ever see. We've got the country clubs. We've got it all. the great schools, the safest city, the nicest families. It's just the best place to live. I'm so glad that my wife made us this choice and helped us get out here. So anyway, if you are interested in learning more about Westlake Village, please contact me here. Also, if you like this type of information, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have new videos coming out eventually. So all the time, I'm going to be producing new content for you guys to learn about Westlake Village. Thanks so much again, everybody. I'm Josh Brenner with Compass here in Westlake Village. Reach out to me. I'd love to meet with you. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.